Hello everybody. I'm uploading this video to announce something I'm very excited about. I'm developing a standalone extraction shooter using S&Box. Before I get into it fully, I'm going to give just a little bit of background. I've played games since I was a young child, and over the course of 25 years my taste in games has developed into what it is today. I came to enjoy multiplayer games the most, starting with competitive focus games, then steering towards open-world survival sandbox type games. And in these most recent years, I've been thoroughly enjoying extraction shooters. To me, extraction shooters are amazing. They have been my favorite genre of games for a few years now. Everything about the concepts involved with them resonates with me. Being in an open world with freedom to challenge or avoid other players, gathering supplies and adding to your own personal wealth, quest and level progression, the feeling of finding high-value items or items needed for quests and progression, the idea of having to ration out your supplies very carefully every raid, managing your stamina, hunger, and hydration, being able to die at a moment's notice and choosing every action carefully to avoid that, the ability to take out anyone else if you find yourself at an advantage, and being on an even playing field with everybody else, more or less. These are some of the things that I enjoy most about the extraction shooter genre, or games in general. And while some games do a lot of these very well, they either don't do other aspects enough justice or leave them out entirely. Because of this, I've been craving that perfect balance of all these things I enjoy, so I've decided to create it myself. My game is a hardcore, tactical, survival, extraction, first-person shooter. It currently does not have an official name. Here is a list of features and game mechanics that my game will include. Realistic bullet and shooting mechanics, Diablo-style grid inventory system, an out-of-raid home base with upgradable components that offer various benefits, in-depth weapon modding, out-of-raid traders with quests, an open player marketplace, semi-realistic health and hitboxes, an armor plate system with interchangeable and built-in plates, accurate armor hitboxes, a fatigue system, penalty for being shot, in-depth healing system, physics to all items and many world objects with the ability to pick them up, the ability to heal other players and drag unconscious or dead bodies, AI that feels grounded and fair to fight, a global player reset, or a wipe. This project will be my perfect balance of all the things I like about the extraction genre. The feeling of progression, looting items, and nearly everything being useful to you, being on an even playing field with other players, with your wits and decision making being the most important factor to your survival, near realistic damage and hitboxes, bullet ballistics, the feeling of tension in every moment, listening for every sound, suspenseful player versus player encounters, and time to kill being extremely short in the correct circumstances. Now I'll talk about what I feel is important to accomplish this kind of game feel and what I plan to add. The first, health and damage. Players will have a health pool split among their body parts. Your thorax or head going below 0 means instant death. Accurate armor plate hitboxes. Your bullets hit where it hits. Similar to a hunting game. You can slip bullets in between or around other players' armor plates. A fatigue and blunt force damage system. Each bullet will have a force value. When a plate blocks a bullet, damage will still be dealt depending on that value. Force and regular damage will inflict fatigue damage. Fatigue is a stat that starts at 0 and recovers quickly, but if a player takes enough fatigue damage in a short period of time, they will suffer stamina and movement debuffs, and in extreme cases, go unconscious. These systems will be my way of discouraging players for being careless with their positioning. Being shot at should be risky, no matter what bullet they're using and what armor you are wearing. This should substantially reduce any issue of people being careless and sprinting around the map ignoring bullets. However, I will tune it in a way where wearing armor is still a good advantage and still useful. I will give armor plate options that cover a bit more than the real life plates, just not complete coverage. Players should still be able to take many bullets in the right conditions, but this should minimize any "how did they not die" moments. The goal is to make combat feel logical and align with common sense as much as possible without interfering with the game balance. One way I will compensate for the lack of full armor protection is the separation of the thorax into two separate hitboxes, an inner thorax and an outer thorax. If a bullet hits the outer thorax but does not penetrate into the inner thorax, it will deal a reduced amount of damage, something like 30% of the damage. This next section is about the early wipe dynamic of extraction games. This is easily the best part of the game for me because no matter how the game is balanced, everybody is forced onto the same playing field. This greatly lends towards having to ration out your equipment carefully and the feeling of progression. Another great side effect is that nearly every weapon and item is useful no matter how bad it's considered. Here's what I'll do in order to prolong the feeling of early wipe. The player-controlled market will be time-gated in two ways. First, it will only unlock at a certain period of time. Second, certain items and item rarities will only be tradable after a certain period of time as well. And items will not be level locked, ensuring that everybody is on an even playing field. The only differentiating factor is how much a person is able to survive and make money. Personal stash and secure container sizes will be defaulted to level 1 for everybody. Upgrades will be reasonably difficult but entirely obtainable through normal gameplay. This gives people another thing to look forward to upgrading. Something else I will make sure of is that there are very little to no paid advantages. This includes storage space and items given to players at the start of a new reset. This ensures everybody has to fight, survive, and earn their gear. If there is paid content, it will either be a small increase to stash space or a small amount of gear, but not enough to offer a significant advantage over other players. This next section is about AI. AI will be made to feel realistic and have realistic reactions to players. Here are examples of the types of AI there may be: civilian, criminal, PMC, and military. I plan to base AI behavior on 3 different stats: morale, skill, and aggression. All AI will have individual stat profiles, and types of AI will be prone to dispositions that make sense for them. Morale will be how brave an AI is feeling. This will depend on the amount of nearby teammates, amount of enemies spotted, how much damage is taken, and type of weapon the enemy has, or grenades. Skill will be how proficient AI is at utilizing cover when needed, and how well they handle their weapon and flank the player. Aggression will determine how often an enemy shoots at the player, and how much they will push the player. The plan is to essentially give every individual their own personality with these 3 stats. Different combinations of these stats should lead to many different behaviors. For example, an AI with low skill and high aggression might give inaccurate suppressive fire and may run through an open field to get to you if they are brave enough. Or, an AI with low morale and high skill might tactically retreat using efficient cover based off the enemy's last known position. Another smaller note is map design. The only real point I want to make in terms of this is spawn points. Spawn points will be tuned in a way that the player is never forced into combat if they do not want it. These are what I consider the main points of my game that will accomplish the overall game feel that I'm going for. But now I'm going to talk about the more general stuff. Here's what my game might look like once it's finished. It's going to be semi-low poly but still realistic looking. The game will take place in an alternate history and possibly a slightly alternate geography of Earth. It will take place in the near future while still retaining a modern aesthetic with modern guns and mostly modern technology. Some futuristic technology will still be present in the world though. The game will take place in a region geographically similar to Africa. The surroundings of the map will be that of savannas from Africa, Badlands from Australia, and the jungles of both. Gun customization will be a big part of this game. There will be many customization options for all of the guns that make sense to have them. In my rough draft of weapons, there are currently 54 guns. They span from the Cold War era to modernized weapons of today. Here is the current list of guns I plan on adding to the game. This is probably going to change eventually, but I like a lot of these weapons so far. I'm playing with the ideas of laser and plasma weaponry. If this is implemented, it will be done in a way so as not to break immersion or the balance of the gunplay. However, I do plan on adding a high-tier railgun as an ultra-rare weapon. The game will feature the ability to pick up objects with your hands, similar to source games such as Half-Life. You press E and your character will put away their weapon to hold an object in their hands, such as loot items or world objects such as barrels. Something that makes this more interesting is if there's a heavy object or item, you and a friend can pick it up together to distribute the weight. Held items will add to your weight and give you appropriate penalties. Another interesting aspect of this is that there can be heavy world objects blocking a passageway. These objects cannot be picked up, but they can be pushed or pulled, also with a friend to speed up the process. This should add an interesting dynamic to gameplay and certain areas. Another significant extension of this will be the ability to drag unconscious people or their deceased bodies. Now that I've gone over the general ideas of the game, here's what I have so far in the engine. You can move around, sprint, which drains stamina, jumping also drains stamina, and there is incremental crouch height, as well as incremental walking speed. And this gun I'm holding is my mock M4 that I made. All these parts are individual parts that fit together to assemble the whole gun. So the blue laser here is a debug tool that just shows where the muzzle is pointing, and the bullet leaves the muzzle itself. If I aim down the sights, it'll align where the muzzle is pointing, more or less. And I can swap shoulders. There's also an obstruction thing coded in where if I move closer to the wall, you can see the M4 gets pulled back if I get too close and it moves out to the side. But I can still shoot, just pointing that way. There's also a leaning. Swap shoulders, lean here, shoot that guy. This is the full auto. There's some camera shake and there's some recoil, but it's just a test right now. It's going to be adjusted to be better. And right now the gun hangs up at like the 6th shot, which is going to change to eventually. I have hunger and hydration in the game. You can see at the bottom right there's the meters. Here's some food. There's like a little juice box and a little morsel of food. I can eat it. Same with the water and stuff. This has leftover water because I didn't use it all. There is arm stamina also, I forgot to mention. If I aim down the sights, arm stamina goes down. I have a health system in the game. It's kind of basic right now, but it is a good proof of concept. So here's all the healing items. This heals HP, light bleed, heavy bleed, crippled limbs, and fractures or broken arms and stuff. So I can damage myself with my keys here. Yeah, I have a light bleed on my right leg. Left leg is crippled. And left arm is fractured now. So because my leg is crippled, I move slower. I can no longer sprint. And my arm being fractured makes it sway a little more. I need to adjust it to fine tune it, but it's there. So I can use this bandage to heal my bleed. While it's healing, I can also move around, but with the splint, I cannot move while it's being used. And I guess I'll use the surgery kit, even though right now it takes a while. I could have made it less time for the sake of this video, but if once it heals it, my max HP will be reduced by an adjustable percentage based on the surgery kit, and it'll heal a percentage of the HP. So it healed back 5 HP. Target is technically wearing a vest. You just can't see it, but if I shoot him, you'll see up here. Oh, that didn't. There we go. It hit the armor, so the armor actually did stop it. And he should be dead by now with 3 shots because it does 45 damage, but he's only at 44, so the armor does successfully block it. And something that is coded, kind of, is the chance for the bullet to deflect based off of the angle it hits the armor plate at. It's not fully working, but it is kind of half in there, and it's gonna be working eventually. And for the damage system, right now he can receive bleeds. Bleeds and fractures have a chance, depending on how much damage was dealt, to occur. And if I shoot him in a black limb, so his left arm is 0, if I shoot him again, his thorax will take some damage. Not the full bullet damage, but it'll take damage. The adjacent limbs will take damage. So his leg went down to 0. His stomach is now lowered. 1 more shot. Stomach zeroed. 1 more shot. Goes to the stomach, which goes to the thorax, and he's dead. And another thing I have coded in is weapon modding. So you see I have a test stock right here. This is what it looks like. So the M4 right now has the default stock on it that I have coded in. So if I inspect it, you can see all the information, but here's all the different parts. And it gives me information on whether or not I can install it and stuff. But right now, I can take off the stock. You can see that it's gone now. If I drop the weapon, it has no stock in the world. So I can pick this up, equip it, and install its stock. Now the stock's back on it. Actually, that's not what I meant. I meant to install the other stock. There, now the test stock is on. And it's the same thing. If I get rid of it, it will appear on the weapon in the world. So yeah, the weapon is depending on parts and not the actual, a single weapon prefab. It is able to tell what parts are on it and what parts to draw on the weapon, in your hands and on the world. And that's about all I have for this game so far, and that concludes this video. I appreciate you for watching this, and I hope some of you are as interested and excited about this as I am. This is definitely a passion project of mine, and I'm determined to see it through to the finish. I have a Discord server linked in the description. You can join it or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more updates about this game. I hope you have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video or in the Discord.